Graham Gartland here at the Hellfire Club. Welcome to Clear the Head. Each week we'll be talking to a member of Shamrock Rovers Football Club, going for a walk through their life and their journey.
Listen, everybody has different types of players that they like, they want to play, and I just didn't really feature in Pat's plan. You know, I was 25 at the time and I felt I was like coming into a strong part of my career. I would have been offered a contract, but it was like a 20% reduction.
That's how we use. You're on camera there, look. Look at this.
When the gaffer signs players now, will he fit the group? Will he come in or will he disrupt the group? Will be Rovers. Regardless of whether we've just won the league or not, but it's just natural. Everybody wants to beat Shamrock Rovers, and that was like, you know, the biggest pull, like it still is.
We finally got the skipper up to talk us through everything that's gone on, and no better man to talk about the journey that the club has been on as well, Ronan. Like, you were part of it at the start, you've seen a change and probably dip and then come back up again. How's that journey been for you?
Yeah, I suppose you go back to 2011, as far back as then, when Michael brought me in, and at that time the club was in a really good place. We had a strong side, had just won the league in 2010, so for me coming in there was, you know, you knew you were coming into a good group full of professionals, full of winners. So then in fairness, Michael was brilliant with me. You know, he set me in straight away. We kind of signed a few of the Sporting Fingal had broken up, so myself, Ken O'Man, Gary O'Neill, like there was a few new ones that came in, so we kind of then just integrated amongst the squad, and we kind of hit the ground running that season. We managed to be successful again. We'd retained the title for the club in 2011, and I suppose that's where the journey began. And there's been a lot of ups and downs, as you said, but I think the club right now is in a far superior place to what it was back then. I think the structure behind the scenes, you know, you look at Roadstone, it's second to none in terms of facilities, young boys coming into the club. You know what I mean? If you wanted to sign a player back in 2011, you'd nothing really to show them. You'd no facilities. Yeah, you could bring them to the stadium, but right now the stadium is like, the pitch has always been brilliant, but like the stadium itself, then you bring them down to the training ground. You know, you're a real kind of model club for League of Ireland. I mean, that's been built over the past few years. There's tremendous credit.
And your involvement in that, like, people always touch on you being the catalyst of signing back for Stephen. How do you feel you've been involved in that and influenced that, and how are you influencing when new players come in, that obviously you're the captain, you're reaching out, you're telling them this is how we do things here, this is what's expected, need any help, I'll help?
Yeah. No, I suppose like 2017 I'd come back, so it was at a stage where the club was probably in the rebuilding process, and when I made that decision, I knew that was going to be the case. Spoke to the manager, spoke to Steve McPhail, kind of like at length about that it was going to be a process, and the club, the board, everybody was behind this process, and there was no way there was going to be instant success because in fairness at the time how strong Dundalk were, they were.
Was it tough leaving that?
Yeah, it was. Like, I suppose we just, at the time, like, I was playing in a team that had, you know, done quite well in Europa League group stages. But I always felt like it was funny, like the phone call came through from Steve McPhail, like, that he wanted to meet me, and it was the day he retired. Like, so I'm not on social media, but somebody had showed me that Stephen McPhail had retired, and you know, and then I just got a call from him. I got a text, tell it to me wife, my girlfriend at the time. I said, Steve McPhail wants to meet me for a coffee, and she said he wants you to sign back. I said, no, like, he must just want to chat. Or, like, I just at the time, I just, you know, I hadn't dawned on me that the possibility, and then I met Stephen, and she was bang on the money, and he wanted me to come back, and at the time it was like, yeah, it was a big decision. I needed to take me time, and obviously just because Dundalk were the best team in Ireland at the time, and the European buzz. There was a great buzz around the town up there, but I always knew, like in the back of my mind, that this was the biggest club.
Yeah.
So like they kind of told me that what plan was in place, and
So how tough was it to like, if the original bit is how tough was it to leave Dundalk, but how tough was it to leave Rovers then, when Dundalk came looking for you? That you have obviously this feeling in you that Rovers is the biggest club, it's where you wanted to be. Must have been tough for you to leave then.
do you know what?
And what was the thought process then to go? Did you not feel welcomed there, or did you think, right, it's time to go, that you didn't think the club was going in the right direction?
No, at the time, I think it was 2014 season. It was a tough time, you know. I think we'd been through a couple of managers since Michael had left. I think we must have been through 3 or 4 managers, and there was a lot of change, and results just weren't going as you know as you plan. And I think the manager at the time was Pat Fenlon, and like Pat, I suppose maybe, listen, everybody has different types of players that they like, they want to play, and Pat, I just didn't really feature in Pat's plans, I felt, going forward. And like there was I was 25 at the time, and I felt I was like coming into a strong part of my career, a strong age, and there was a reduction in terms of things like that. Like I would have been offered a contract, but it was like a 20% reduction, and I felt like, you know, like
You're in your...
had a really good relationship with Stephen. Knew like when I was offered this, I felt it was a bit of a, like, you know,
nearly forcing you to take...
a bit of a slap in the face. I was like, going, okay, well, like, you want me to stay, but do you really want me to stay? You know, like how much do you want me to stay?
Yeah.
You're not really telling me you want to keep me. Yeah, you don't want to keep me because you probably don't want to lose me to a rival, but you want me to get me, you know, down off the wage bill, or
But it's one of those where that managers can do that, where they go, well, we offered him a deal, but he didn't want to take it.
Yeah.
So but you're going...
Like, that's what I mean. No one maybe knew that.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't think he really wanted me, that's being
Right.
honest. Like, I just felt that maybe I wasn't that type of player for him, and and so I suppose at that time maybe I needed a change as well.
Yeah.
You know, I'd been at the club for 4 years, and Pat obviously wanted to go in a certain direction, and I maybe just didn't feel that I was part of his plans, and as a player you have to accept that.
Yeah.
And
But it was difficult to go.
yeah, like, I mean, it was, of course, because you feel like, you know, you've been there for 4 years.
Hey ladies, how are you? You're on
Hey.
camera there, look. Look at this. Come on, you good thing.
It was, yeah, so it wasn't like, it's not as if I was like looking to get a move or looking to get out the door. It wasn't the case, but I suppose when you feel like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, it's maybe you're not wanted, you're going to be, you know, not a major part of his plans. And as I said, as a player at 25, I felt like that I was coming into a strong age, that I want to be a fulcrum of a team, and Stephen was able to give me that at Dundalk, you know. And
did you feel then you probably had that extra incentive then, or did they give you that, like you said, maybe it gave you that bit of extra motivation to go, do you know what, I'm gonna actually go through the gears here? I'm not saying you didn't at Rovers, because the year I played you, I thought you were our best player, but I think you were 21 at the time.
No, I'd have been a bit older. I'd have been about 23 then.
Were you in
Yeah,
2012?
Yeah, so it would have been 24,
23,
25.
yeah.
You know.
But that's where I was looking at you as a player going, when I saw you at Dundalk, I was like, woof, that you became a bit more of an involvement in the team at Rovers.
No, to be fair, the group I felt in 2014 in the club, it just, you know, it's a completely night and day to the group we have now.
Yeah.
You know, the group now, you know, is full of, you know, unbelievable characters. And I think to build a successful team, I think it's as important as any technique, or, you know, athleticism, all that. I think characters is massive, because if you don't have characters in the dressing room with good attitudes, you're going to struggle. Long term, you might get short term success, but in the end, you just won't have that longevity. Again, and Dundalk had that.
Yeah.
Like, they had good characters, and they had good winners. They had a good group. They were tight, and that's, I suppose, when I came back, like, I felt that was going to be massive for success, and the gaffer had the exact same opinion.
Yeah.
And I suppose, like, I mean, when the gaffer signs players now, it's fit the group. Will he fit the group? Will he come in, or will he disrupt the group? Everything is about, like, you know, the bigger picture. It's not about, you know, yeah, but he's a risk, and will he be detrimental to the squad? It's not about that, and I think.
And how do you feel your character has helped that? Like you said, to build that in 2017, that you had that character, you've been around the group that had it, you knew what it was about, but now you're then demanding off people that this is how you carry yourself, this is how you train, this is how you prepare to train, which is a big thing.
Yeah.
This is how you prepare to play matches.
I suppose I would have always prided myself on being a good professional, just from day one, in terms of maybe being at UCD. There was no ego.
Yeah.
You know, I'd never been to England. I really, like, as a kid, yeah, but, like, you know, I had to go the long way around. I had to work, like, you know, go through the scholarship process at UCD, which is brilliant, which was, for me, gave me the chance to get, you know, to get a degree, play, you know, senior football at a young age. But yeah, I suppose it was a slow burner. It was a slow process. So I you know, you worked hard at UCD. You had to earn everything. I got relegated. You know, it wasn't always easy. So then, obviously, you get your success in 2011. We had a great year with Michael in Europe and all that came with that. But I suppose my attitude never changed. Like, I was always wanted to win. I always had that competitive spirit, and something that, you know, has never ever come away from my game, but never really had that kind of nasty, like, an arrogance that I would always just try and, you know, I am who I am. I captain the same way as I try to play. Like, I try to lead by example on the pitch, not so much from a vocal point of view where I'm screaming and slaughtering players, but more so by just trying to do my job as best I can, and encouraging and trying to, you know,
your actions more than
your actions,
like,
more than, like, you see different people have different styles, rather than going around slaughtering people, but by doing it in such a way that, you know, people respond to you. I think if I was to change, you know, when the manager asked me to be captain, like, I couldn't change, because, you know, at that stage of being around the league, people know who you are, like, so you'd never last. You would have been putting on an act. Yeah. So you know, you'd be a good person around the place. You show a good example. That's helped me, you know. Obviously 2017, 18, they were tough as well. Like, there was some good days, but there was some bad days, and, you know, you need to be able to take it on the chin. And, you know, there was some tough times, but, like, listen, we dug in as a group, and then you see the success and the build and what comes on the back of it. You know, you see the place now and the club. It's at a place where it's gotta keep moving, like, because I think everybody standards in the league will come up and they'll all look at us for example as a target. You know, it's only natural when you play for Shamrock Rovers. Like, I remember my first game, like, for Michael in 2011. Like, it was against Dundalk, but it was like night and day comparison to what I'd been used to. Even like a finger, it just didn't have it. Like, all of a sudden you're in a real stadium, in a real environment, and you're playing for the top team, like, you're playing for the league champions, and there was a sudden amount of pressure where you just didn't get it. And I don't think you get it at any other club. Like, I've played, as I said, for Dundalk, who are league champions, but it's just not the same. It just doesn't have that cutting edge, doesn't have that, you know, demands where
the scrutiny as well.
Just scrutiny from everybody, from within, outside. Standards, just it's great. It's why you play football. Like, I think you play football to hit high levels. Well, you should. And in fairness,
but that pressure, like, we say this to the younger players, and you've done it a little bit last year, was that pressure to perform at Rovers is a privilege, because look what you get for it. You get a good stadium, you get the best of facilities, you get the best training ground, you get, as we say, some of the best coaching. So it's a privilege. And how you handle that, if we shy away from that with the younger players, they won't be able to play in the first team, because it'll be a shock to them. Like you said, you're going, oof, this is new. Yeah. So you've had to grow in that as well. And you embrace it. Yeah. Like, some players embrace it. And you see really good players, like, there's so many, I'm not going to name anyone, but you'd see a lot of players that maybe really good talented players that over the years
have signed for Rovers, but just maybe never hit the heights.
Yeah.
You know, for whatever reason, it just. No, but it's just there is an added pressure playing for the club. Like, you know, when you're playing for us and we get out to Cork, you know, Cork's biggest crowd will be Rovers, regardless of whether we've just won the league or not.
Yeah.
But it's just natural.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to beat Shamrock Rovers, and that was like, you know, the biggest pull. Like,
Yeah.
still is.
Is it?
Ah, yeah, it's the biggest pull. You go to Sligo and it's the biggest pull. They hate you, you know.
But knowing we say this as well, knowing you've beat a team that have given the maximum, knowing that you've beat the team that they're playing flat out today, but we've still found a way to come out on top. That to me is a good pressure, and it's a better feeling than winning as an underdog. I always found.
Yeah. Yeah, well, like, I mean, in fairness, we would prepare for every game the exact same. Like, so we'd
And
never,
Brad's leadership is good like that then.
Oh, unbelievable. That, like, and if we take our foot off it for a second and take our eye off the ball, like, he's honest. Like, it's just not within our group to. Well, it shouldn't be. Listen, I'm not saying we're perfect, but
No,
that kind of will show up here, and, you know, maybe not treat, you know, somebody with the same respect as your opponents next week.
Yeah.
And I think, like, over the past few years we've shown that, like, in terms of going on long runs, going on unbeaten runs, because that arrogance, you won't last. As I said, that's just not longevity. It won't be the kind of the remedy for success, and it comes from the management. In fairness, like, the manager, Glenn, Macca, Owen now, Jose, like, they're a tight group, and they don't let up. Like, the work they do, like, in fairness, behind the scenes, like, I've said it before, like, it's relentless in terms of no one knows about it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, supporters don't know about it, you know, us as players mightn't even know half it.
Yeah.
But it's that level of detail. And
so you came through at UCD and you've worked under Stephen, you've worked under Stephen Bradley, you've worked under now the Ireland manager Stephen Kenny, which you had a tight relationship with, Pat Fenlon, Michael O'Neill, who was another international manager. You've worked under some of the biggest names in this country in terms of coaching.
yeah.
And how has your relationship differed with them, and how has it grown, or how has it not grown at certain times? And who was it that gave you a debut at UCD?
That was Pete Mann.
Yeah,
Again,
lovely man.
Like a top man. Like, you know,
Just a genuine nice
just
fella.
Dan, that's all
Yeah.
I can relate to, you know, like, I mean, yeah, that's all you want in people.
Yeah.
Genuine, like, it's just genuine, like, just genuine.
It's what you see is what you get.
Yeah, you know, and, you know, someone who, you know, I'm not going to go through comparing managers and whatnot.
No, I'm not saying that. What
yeah,
I'm saying
but, like,
is like
that's
that.
all I can ask for is like
Them
someone
as
to be
people,
genuine
like,
and honest.
Yeah, I'm not saying Stephen Bradley was this compared
Yeah.
to Stephen Kenny. It's more
No, just
your
honesty.
relationship
just,
with
yeah,
them,
yeah,
like, you know?
yeah. No, just honesty. And like you said, like, I've been lucky to play under really good managers and different styles, but like Michael, someone still now who I'd still talk to, like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
have a good relationship with. Like, we had a kind of, you know, more of a.
he'd riddle you a bit,
yeah,
wouldn't
no,
he?
but
He'd
he'd
slag
be
you in a good
he'd
way.
be brilliant, you know
yeah.
what I mean? Or, like, you know, he'd have this kind of, me and him would have really gelled, you know, more over banter and just like
Yeah.
winding each other up, and like, he's quite, I don't know whether, you know, listen, I don't want to say too much, I can't remember, but we had a good relationship, you know, we'd wind each other up. It was a good kind of, but yeah, he'd hammer me,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know what I mean, absolutely hammer me as
You
well.
had such a hold on that group that I think
Exactly.
even because the 2012 year was like Stephen Kenny came in and was so positive with everybody that the lads were like, I remember looking around and he's praising, and I remember Civvy was like, I just need him to hammer me once.
Yeah,
like,
no.
and Stephen, that's not in Stephen's nature.
No, Michael had it, like, there was
Yeah.
Michael's group, and Michael had it.
But Michael ridiculed in a way that was like
You were
half
afraid.
banter but half
Michael was
serious.
as
Like,
sharp as as sharp as a man I've ever met.
yeah,
Like, I mean, his intelligence, his IQ would cut you.
yeah.
Would cut you with a sentence.
I know,
and
yeah.
you couldn't come back from it.
I got to know him well, but yeah, I know
Like,
what
you
you're
couldn't
saying.
come back from it because his sharp answer was going to be sharper than yours.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you're taking Michael on, you'd want to be ready. So, and in 2012, I suppose that group, you know, were used to that. You're used to that sign. Stephen's different style.
Yeah,
You know, Stevens went on and had a brilliant managerial career. So, you know, but just at that time, for whatever reason, I had a great relationship with Stevens.
yeah, you did, yeah.
You know, so, and I love playing for him, but it was just for whatever reason, it didn't work out. But listen,
To be honest with you, I thought you were excellent that year. That I remember talking to people about you saying he's like you were carrying us at times in games. I remember I had a conversation with you against a Bray game. I think we ended up winning the game 2-0, and you played really well. And I think you were a little bit disappointed. I don't know if you remember this conversation.
No.
It stuck with me. You were disappointed, and you were like, I didn't score.
Yeah,
You played better in that game than you did in the game where you scored 2, Finner.
Yeah.
Because you'd done more for the team. And I was like, you were looking, going. I remember you looking at me thinking, go away, will you? You're talking, like, because I probably wasn't playing at the time. But I remember saying to you, that's how you play midfield. If you play like that, your goals will still come, but you'll have more of an influence on the fact you won the game.
Yeah, right. You know what I mean?
But it was like you said, you were 23.
Exactly.
And then 3 years later.
You're mature.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
3 years later, I see you playing against Zenit St. Petersburg, I think, in Tala. And you were unbelievable.
Yeah, no, you're mature, and I suppose at that time, I don't know, I can't remember, but I think I was maybe scoring a lot of goals.
Oh yeah, you were.
Know what I mean? And I think I must have, for whatever reason, but like you mature as a player.
But that was the moment that, as someone looking in who was probably nearly finishing in football, I was looking, going, if that clicks, then.
Yeah, no. I suppose we went through, as I said, a couple of different managers. It was like, I suppose at that period, there was definitely a period that I think the club needed to step back and go, right, we need to look at the bigger picture here. We need to kind of go,
where do we want to go?
Where are we? 5 years' time, where do we want to be?
Yeah.
And how are we going to get there?
Because when Michael left, it was like...
Yeah, there was a bit
we were talking about Gano with this last week. We'd nowhere to train.
Yeah.
Like you trained there, you go home. You were going to the gym by yourself. I was going to the gym by myself.
Yeah.
We weren't together. We didn't eat together. We didn't. Like I only seen you on.
You see
training on match days. I'd be like, there was no.
No, there was no kind of. We weren't integrating as a group. There was no kind of. There was no one hanging around after training. Come on, do you want to do a gym session, or do you want to, even go for a coffee?
Yeah.
It was kind of just in, train, see you later.
Yeah.
And I suppose that was just a little. I'm not sure about you with Drogheda. Like I think you would have had a really strong group.
Yeah, they're all there.
Yeah.
Like they're all at Rovers now. That like myself, Shane, Stephen Gray.
But and I'm sure you had that kind of integration, that kind of tightness. Yeah. More so than what in 2012 what you see.
Oh yeah, I couldn't believe it. Like,
or even you coming back from the UK. I'm sure in England, lads go for coffee and they maybe have that bit of personal relationships, but. At the time, it was. But
it wasn't. The bit that I was struggling with probably was in Scotland or even Drogheda, you were forced to the point where it was like, right, we get it. But it became natural then.
Yeah.
With us, it was like, it was nothing. It was like just off you go, and I'm going, that this needs to be worked on. But like you obviously have that now, and you're vital to that. Are you making sure that like? You're saying to that, like, I'm not saying you stand over them, but you're saying, like, how you treat the younger players coming in, you're helping them.
Do you know what? Like, it's kind of a collective, the way the group is being moulded. Maybe at the start, but like the way the group has been moulded the last 2-3 years, like it's kind of, if you're a young boy coming in, you don't have to look too far to see what you should be doing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't need to be standing over anybody, and it'd be more of just look around you.
Watch.
You come in.
Joey was good for that as well, wasn't he?
You just come in and you see lads, in the morning doing extra gym work, foam rolling, like I play tech ball, other lads do it, other things, but you don't really, you see most people coming in. Some lads will just come in, maybe have a coffee, there's nothing wrong with that, just have a chit chat and then go in and do a bit. But there's a real work mentality that, because if you don't do it, somebody else will want to come in and take your place.
That's the thing,
And that's and the manager's watching as well. But I suppose as well, like it's about Friday nights as well.
Yeah.
You got to make sure that you show up. At the end of the day, you can.
Nobody comes to watch you train.
Yeah, 100%. So if you're doing it on a Friday, that's the main thing. But it's how, by doing it, by giving yourself the best chance throughout the week, you'll give yourself the best chance to perform on the Friday, and whether that's doing extra gym work, whether that's just foam rolling, loosen out. I know a lot of the lads go for swims, Richie, really good professionals that just gives themselves the best opportunity to perform on the Friday. and that's in the group. That kind of like hunger,
Yeah.
and it comes probably from both ways: hunger for success, but hunger to stay in the team. Hunger to like.
Because the squad is so strong as well.
Exactly, like the hunger to. Yeah, I want to play next week. I want that kind of.
And these push each other then, like would there
I
be?
think there was a period.
Does training get intense?
It does,
like?
yeah. Like you look at the training today. Like I mean, the group as a whole is so strong that there's, you like there's no weak teams. Like, everybody's. And I think that shows on a Friday night.
It does, yeah.
That the manager, makes changes, and whoever comes in, the show goes on. Like everybody knows the roles.
But even see the closeness you're talking about, and you touched on something there with. No matter how close a group was, like, and I grew up with Stephen. Me and Stephen probably rowed more on the team than if I was playing with Stephen. I'd be round with him as much because he
That's
knew.
demands,
He knew. It's not personal here.
Yeah.
That's my friend telling me.
No,
Like you get again, it's.
No, 100%.
You're able to drive people. Like you and Joey would have had discussions.
Yeah,
going
and fights.
Yeah, exactly. But at the end of the day, you think we just want
That's
what's best
for the
for the
greater
team.
good.
Yeah.
It's for the greater good. It's never, and it should never get personal.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be into that. Would never condone that, and that's kind of not accepted. If somebody like is to say something and then it flips back and it is a.
Would you step in then as the
I
captain?
gotta say,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
100%. You pull them straight away to say, no, that's not how we do it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
that,
It's not. You'd say it in such a way that you're nearly manipulating them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're going like, that's just not how we do it here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have a problem with them, you go and speak to them, but you don't get nasty, you don't get personal, you don't say something that's going to ignite something else.
Yeah.
If he's telling you something and you don't agree with it,
Yeah.
by all means have a go back, but not in a nasty way, not in a way that other people are going to hear. I don't like that within the group. I don't like somebody saying something, amongst our group and then in opposition hearing it, or fans hearing it, and it's like, oh jeez, they're not as tight as I thought.
Yeah, you're letting them in.
You're kind of going, and then it's like, oh lads, these are on each other.
Yeah, exactly.
And then at half time comes, they're like, lads, they're slaughtering each other.
Yeah.
And that nastiness of the group, like that's not accepting. The manager, Glenn, Macca, like to be fair, they would have had, like, there potentially could have been some of that a few years ago, but that would have been like had to be stamped out.
Yeah.
And it is, because you look at the characters now in the dressing room, it's very, very rare that aren't like that come up. But yeah, sometimes in the heat of the moment, lads fucking say stupid things, but
yeah, there's an intensity to it.
You pull it and you pull and you nip it in the board, and that's it. You draw a line under it, you move on.
See, like, it also comes down to how Stephen has got the group and the lads, is that if I'm giving information into a midfielder and I'm saying to him, you have to be left there, there's no argument, because I know what I'm expected, and you should know, but you're going, I need you there at that time, because you're so well, I wouldn't say drilled, you're well drilled without the ball. You have a freedom to play when you have the ball, and I can see that when you're talking to each other, if I go here, you go there, that freedom. But defensively, you're saying, you need to be here. And then the arm comes out because it's like, no.
Yeah.
Where in other teams where
there's an argument.
There's an argument because you're like, no, I need to get tight. You're going, no, you need to screen.
But again, that's kind of a selfishness, where if you're talking about that, like if somebody behind, whether it's league, giving information to somebody in front of him, he's telling them to help him.
Yeah.
He's telling them to help. He's not telling them to have a go with him.
Yeah.
And whoever he's telling the information to needs to recognise, I've got to trust him. He's telling me this. By all means, have the row after. I go, no, I couldn't get there.
Yeah, exactly.
You're asking me to do that. I can't. I'm pressing him.
Yeah,
because, and
you might need to squeeze 5 here.
Yeah, and that's all dialogue.
Exactly.
That's all. Like, that's going to happen in matches. Like, there's going to be countless times that will happen in games. But again, it's the approach. It's not the nastiness. It's not the,
It's how you're given the information that I need you to do the next time, but we'll help each other.
And luckily, within our dressing room, there's very little of it. Like, as I said, you will get it. Like, now and again, people will have a, mightn't be going great. The game mightn't be going great for them. And, all of a sudden, they're reacting in such. And we haven't been dealing with it because it's been stamped out from the top down.
Yeah. So, you went through UCD. Now, when I joked before we start recording, you're my height now.
Yeah.
I played against you. You were probably that height. You played up front with Salmon, Connor Salmon. Salmon and Finn. You had the blonde dyed hair.
Yeah.
GHD across your face and then down your back.
Still have the GHD.
And I remember playing against you, and obviously we done our reports, and that you were really clever with the ball. Don't let him turn. but like your game has evolved so much.
Yeah.
But I was talking to someone else who played with you today, and he was saying about that. It was like you got to an age where you ran box to box, you emptied, you gave that. Now you're in a different position. You play sometimes right wing back, you play midfield. How has your game evolved that you've actually become? I'm looking, watching you, thinking you've a really good game intelligence that probably didn't show up when you were running, but you were like. Does that come with maturity, or does it come with understanding the game more?
Understanding the game, maturity. I probably didn't have that. You know, at a young age, I was more of a, I suppose.
You were very technical, and then you became powerful. And did you just think, I'm going to run now?
Well, I always backed my running ability. You know, I always felt that, you know, even when I've been playing midfield, I think now it would be harder because I think most teams are fitter and stronger than what they would have been back then. Now, I would have been a fit young lad, like, so I would have always felt that I'm going to keep running here and eventually you're going to drop me. Yeah. You know, and that's how I would have played. And you know, that was a strong part of my game, was running off the ball, running beyond. And Michael would have been in my ear going, run beyond, keep, you know. Like, we would have played more direct than say, a team that we play with now. But that was always...
You'd have ran through the gap with
or whatever, somebody would have come out and I'd go in behind. And that was definitely... But I would always, like, you know, Michael would, if I was coming to feed to him, which he'd be saying, like, he'd want me running off the ball, but I know what it was either I could kind of... That was it. Like, as I got older then, you know, you understand more that you can't do stupid runs that you're going to be seeing, you know what I mean? Like, you know, pick and choose it.
Relax, but I understand that, like you said, you're 23 and you're thinking, Graham, I'll get back in anyway. I can go box to box. So I understand, and I see that now as a coach. I'm looking at young lads and they're coming in and they're running, and I'm going, leave them run while they can. When did that game intelligence sink into you that you went, right, I understand the game? Like,
it just comes with age and maturity. It just comes with games.
Yeah.
You know, it just comes
experience as well. Like,
it just comes with, like, playing in tough games, playing in European games. You know, just like playing at a high level, and the higher you go, the more intelligent the players you play against.
Yeah, and they're leaving you run onto centre backs.
They're seeing it, you know what I mean? They're gonna know, they're gonna pass you on. Now, you see City doing it, and I'm saying Liverpool, the amount of runs we would watch them, like, you know, it's obviously the elite, the top, you know, the top footballers, like, but they run a lot. You know, I think football's changed. It's becoming, like, far more physical than it was.
Sprint distances is a big thing.
Just everything is just like that going. Like, City retain the ball, they've runners, and eventually it slipped in. You know, and that's. I think football has changed. It's becoming more and more athletic.
Yeah.
So no, I've had to. But
the European games would have helped with that. You're coming up to. I think you've played over 30 games in Europe now, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I have. I've clocked up, you know, a few. So
you're chasing Ollie Cattle, are you?
No, I've done
Ollie. You've done Ollie. You're chasing Gano.
I've done Gano.
Have you done Gano as well?
So
you're the top European record in Ireland, are you?
I think I'm the top outfield. Like Gary Rogers, he's in me side.
Yeah, you've better hair than Gary. So he's Gary.
I'm not. Do you know what? I think I'm second. Second, and I think Gary's fourth. So
there you go.
That's a target.
Yeah, but is that something you've given yourself as well? To
go,
like,
I mean, you want to keep
like external motivation and internal motivations, like, you know.
And you just want to keep playing. You want to keep, you know, being successful. You want to keep winning. Like, I think that's in me. You know, that competitive edge. That, you know, that's something that you won't lose, I don't think.
No.
Like, I don't think you can lose that kind of burning desire to win. And I would have that. I wouldn't be a good loser. Like, if we lose, like, I'd be low. I'd be severely low. I'd go into, you know, my wife would have had to, you know, really help me.
Yeah,
you know, genuinely, she'd been brilliant. Like, with
patience.
With times in my career where things haven't been going well, like in football. Like,
is there many of them? Because like, this is where people look in and they see all the success, but what, as I say, you fell 5 times, you got up 6. They don't see the failures. Like,
low
what would have been your lowest ones?
Like, it's, you know, say like 2000, and I think it could have been 18, where, you know, the club at the time was like, you know, I think we'd maybe lost a couple on the row.
Yeah.
You know, and like people were on our backs. And like I felt that, you know what I mean? I felt that being captain, like I felt that pressure, you know, and you know, I suppose people are looking to you like, and it was just one of them where you just gotta like dig in, like kind of look beyond, you know, just the here and now, kind of like we needed just the club to be patient with us, and luckily they were, because like look where we are now. Listen, we're in a great position, but as I said, you're never that far off from being, you know, someone coming and taking it off you again. But that was low, like. And
how did she help you through it? Jamie's her name, isn't it?
Jamie. Yeah, just by talking to me, just Jenny Winey, just and not like, not listening to me. Like we would chat about it, and she would help me, and we would just kind of. I would want to talk, because like I wouldn't talk to many people. Like Barry Graham would have been someone as well that would have, you know, been brilliant for me. You know, some that would have helped me at times, like in that period, that would have rang me after games, and that was but that day they're low, like, you know what I mean. There was just listen, there's more lows, you know. I remember being relegated. UCD. You know, UCD was not as, you know, you're younger, you don't really kind of.
I think people underestimate how much you care. Like it's again, going back to, I lived in Tallaght in 2012, and it was a terrible season, and it was everything I wanted. I was playing in my local club. I lived in Jobstown at the time, and you're carrying this home, and then you're getting, you don't care, and you're like, it's actually I do care, and I'm like,
it couldn't be the opposite.
And I'm looking, going, I actually do, but I don't know how to show it anymore. And like, unless I go out and get sent off every week, I can't show it anymore. I'm not that. So I understand that, like, where you go, where does this go, like, you know?
And then, I'd be a nightmare for. Say when I get success, I move on so fast. Yeah. Like, I mean,
what's next?
Like, barely even, like, my mum would be always, she'd have been the one to go, like, enjoy it, and she'd be like, I may have done, say, we won the cup in 2019, which was massive, like, for me, you know.
How was that feeling as the captain winning, lifting the cup for Rovers?
Like very, you know, as high as go in football, like, it was more of an, like, it nearly got emotional because of maybe the tough start.
Like you said, the 2018 stuff.
Yeah, just that, and then I was just delighted for everybody that was involved in the journey, all of us, like, you know, still like a lot of players here that's you know, that was with that success, you know, for the manager, for Glenn, for Macca, you know, and that was the catalyst, you know, for us to go again. But for me then, just to have that personal, you know, benefit of lifting the trophy in front of, like, you know, my little girl was there. It was a real momentous occasion, that, you know, something that you cherish.
I always say this, because we were talking to Gary O'Neill about this. The league is something for the team. The league is so important for the team, and that unity and that, like, strife that you go through. The away to Finn Harps, you pull out a lot that people don't see. But the cups are special in a one-off day. And
fans.
Like, when you experience both, you get that feeling of, I want that again as well, because you look forward to the day.
It's rare, like, that day out, you know. See, if I'm not in the cup final, I'm out here. I'll try be on a holiday, or I'll try just get out of Dublin. Like, couldn't, very rarely would have watched it, because you know, God, I'd love to be there. You know, it's just that longingness to be there. And didn't ever understand as a kid. You know, I remember like, I remember I think it was Trevor Crawley maybe, as a, you know, when he was manager of Rovers, like, and we'd lost the game in semi-final against Sligo, and he goes, like, you don't get these opportunities. And I never understood, like, I didn't really understood, because I'd never got there. But then when you get there, like, the whole week everyone's talking about it, you know, you're getting your suits, you know, your family is coming up from the country, you know, people's families is coming home from wherever abroad. The buzz around the stadium, like, with fans, you know, at the end of the season, you hopefully you had success, but then you had a couple look forward to next week. It was a real buzz, and
you've a real patience about you now. Like, I've known you a long time. I've always just had a relationship with you where how you're getting on, I wouldn't have interfered. I tried to, like, you know, push something that wasn't there. But there's real patience about you at the moment that I see around the club. I know you're big into fishing. Has the fishing helped your patience, or because when I played with you, I always thought you were impatient, that you'd be there was just you were, like you said, moving on to the next thing real quick, wanting to run. You seem to be really steady and self-assured now, And I know we laugh. I always joke about your fishing. I'll bring you fishing. You'll be
Yeah.
grand. We'll have this chat when we're fishing. You
Yeah.
might open up more. But does that help you switch off?
100%.
Does it?
Like, I mean, like I asked my wife, like, if I could fish every day, I would nearly. Like, it's become an obsession, and it's getting worse, unfortunately. Yeah, like I was fishing the weekend. Like, it's just something. It's an escapism.
Yeah.
Like, I just go and I just will fish. I'm like, I've got on my own, no problem.
Would you?
Like, yeah. Like,
Would it help you like clear your head and clear the thoughts and stuff like that?
100%. Just go. I'd be on a lake on my own. Just like,
Yeah.
I'd have all like I'd have good comforts, you know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be. I'd be living
chair
in. I'd
and
be
all,
living in style from a camping perspective.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be the Ritz of the.
Would it?
Yeah. So no, I would. I would. Fishing would be a massive part of just. Like, as I said, escapism, getting away from the pressures, because people wouldn't like, maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't, but you know, football brings a lot of pressure. Like, every week
especially with the introducing of social media and everything as well.
Yeah.
Does it like I've seen people take pictures of people when they're not even looking.
Nah,
and
it's
you're
a
like,
joke,
you
you know
have
what
to
I
watch
mean?
where you can't even what you drink, what you're holding. In your
yeah,
hand,
and
all
people
that.
are dying for you to slip up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People are dying for you to stitch up. Something that you're never going to get away from. It's here now. That's it.
Yeah.
You've got to just be careful. And as a professional, you know, you should be living your life right anyway.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're going out for the drink with the lads, you know what I mean. You don't need someone.
They're
coming
important as well.
Yeah, you've got to switch off.
Yeah.
You know how I switch off is I would, like, younger, I would have went out, you know, drinking, you know, maybe times when I shouldn't have. But now,
I don't remember that too well.
well,
I
maybe
remember your
a
V-necks being a little bit lower than they should have
maybe
been.
maybe a Michael's
I'm
days.
thinking, what's a low V-neck
No,
you're rocking there
maybe
with
a
a
Michael's days there was probably
few rosary beads thrown in.
In Michael's days, there would have been maybe more nights out than there should have been. But I think back then it was more accepted. You know, it's only, 11 years ago now, but there was definitely more of that kind of culture, and it wouldn't have been frowned upon. Like, you lads would have went out Mondays after training, like, where that's just, it just doesn't happen.
It's so different.
You know what I mean?
I actually was in the middle of Europe. I'd never done that. If we even looked at it, if we looked at something that rotted out, you were with Finn.
We like I say, we had a good group there. Like, there was a tight group, but there was a bit of a, you know, social element. There was a bit of a social element to it. Now, it was never done at completely the wrong time, but right now, in this group now, football's changed. It just wouldn't be accepted. But I suppose back then, that was, you know, we got away with it. Maybe, as I mentioned, because the athleticism and the fitness wasn't in football like it is now. You know, you could get away with it.
It tailed off, like, with, I think around the time Rovers came, there was a big dip where during the early 2000s it jumped. Like we Shell trotted it there. Then we jumped full time, and then it was like a dip. When I came back, I was thinking, this is.
Well, the money would have been in the crash.
Exactly.
Would have been the crash, you know.
That's exactly it. It was. It was
crash.
like
The money wasn't in it.
Lads were going, I'm not doing all this for that.
Yeah,
like, you know.
yeah. So I mean, back then there would have been serious money being thrown around, like, you know.
It's easy now.
But like, you know, but there would have been, like, I'd have been at UCD. I'd have missed, you know, I'd not have been involved in it, but you'd have been playing against players that were, you know, on really, really good wages. Yeah, and listen, that was great. You know, as a player, you're like, you know, you work hard, and if this is what you pay me, this is what I want. And
it was like, geez,
I'm
contracts we were being told, like, what, you know? You've done a degree out at UCD, so after football, are you looking to pursue more of a business side?
No, 100%. I would be. Listen, I would love to involve football with business. You know, I'd love to stay around the club. You know, I'd love to, you know, help, be about the club. The club is just. This is, I think, coming into. I think this is my 10th season now. Like 11 next year. You know, so for me, like, I love it, and it's just a part of me now. And I don't want to lose that, you know, after. I still want to win things for the next few years, but listen, you never. I was always one of them people that was afraid of the future. Not afraid, but I would have always.
Yeah, you see what it was like for other players. I think that was the
good thing. And
it was
my family as well, just never letting me, you know, it was like going to England as a kid, like, it was like, you're not going, you're doing your leaving. You know what I mean? You're staying, you're doing your leaving, and I did do my leaving, and I would have flown back and forth to England every Friday to play a match in the UK.
And did you never want to go back then once?
Well, this was the first year of my contract in the UK, and I just, after the year, the club, like, it was with Cambridge United, but they were really starting to struggle. And I was thinking, like, right, I'm going to sign for a team that's now in League 2. They got relegated from League 1. You know, like, can I see myself, like, you know, being here and playing in League Two, getting into the first team here? And it was just a decision that I made, going, right, the UCD scholarship came up, and I said, like, this is more me. You know, this just suit me better. Like,
it's a very, very good decision to make, very mature decision to make at that age.
You know what, I would always give advice to kids, like, you take time over decisions. Like I mean, I literally, like, my wife be testament to this. I'll make a decision, but I will take forever. You know, but I'll make the right one.
Robbo's like that as well.
You know what I mean? Yeah, no, I'll make the right one. I won't go off, like, I'll go off in gut to an extent, but I would be more of a, you know, a strategic decision. Like, I'll weigh it down.
That's efficient.
Yeah, but I'll speak to family, I'll speak to my wife, I'll speak to people to help me get there and go, well, this is what I'm thinking.
It's an educated
You know,
decision.
what do you think? And the football one, and all my football decisions would have been really, like, slow. You know what I mean? I'm not ready to make it. You know, I need to sit down here, give me time.
So your ambitions
and I'm
are
waiting. Like, a decision that I always make is I've got 2 decisions, and I put them both in an envelope. Now, I don't physically do this, but I go, right, take one away, and what one do I want to be left with?
Right.
You know, that's how a lot of the time.
Toss a coin, and as it's in the air, you're thinking, I want it to be heads.
What one do I want this to be? It's something that I would always do, because you got to make life decisions. You make football decisions, like signing contracts, moving club, whatever opportunities come up, and you don't want to make the wrong one.
Yeah, and you're due another baby soon as well.
Yeah, no, we are. Yeah. So with Mia, would have been at the cup final in 2019, and that was like.
She's 3 in August.
Yeah, so that would have been some massive kind of, you know, just for me lifting the trophy, but then having her there, like, I lifted her before the trophy. Yeah. People would have thought I lifted the trophy, and that was the kind of, it'd be a great moment when I show her that, like, from the, you know, 2019, like, in whenever it is, like, and when she want, like, in a few years' time, when she understands more, go show her the video of me lifting her before, like, stuff like that, you know, kind of, that you can't recreate that. No. You know, that's just in the moment that she won't even care, but I'll care. You know,
they're the memories that people don't, like, again, we go back to your medals and all the success, but that's the memory rather than the medal.
Yeah, just like, I mean, that, and also, like, I would have remembered looking around and just seeing the fans, you know what I mean, and seeing, like people like Jonathan, like, you know, I'd seen him running on the pitch, and, like, Jonathan, someone I'm very, very close to. And, like, someone I've a great relationship with, but seeing his emotion, like, you know, this real raw emotion that, you know, of, like, joy, and I'm going, like, this is, like, massive for people.
Yeah, you mentioned Big Deck as well, didn't you, wasn't it?
Well, like, I wouldn't have known Big Deck, like, you know, like as I would have
just knew him around.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't have known him. Like,
that meant a lot to a lot of people.
Like, I mean,
I think it's his anniversary this week as well. So even things that you.
People want it, like, people don't understand. Like, I mean, and even players to an extent, you don't understand how much the club means to certain people. Like, it's their life. Like, it really is kind of. And then when you step back, and then, you know.
But it's your life now, like you said. You're saying after whatever you do after football, you want to be involved in Rovers.
Yeah, but why wouldn't you want to be? You know, I wouldn't want to go and, you know, I feel like I'll have something to offer. Like, I tried coaching, you would have been like, and I did like it. It's just I wouldn't have got the same buzz that other people get off it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Joey, I would have went with Joey. He loved it. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be busy in terms of I work as well, and Joey'd be ringing me, going, do you want to watch? And I'm like, Joe, I'm in the middle of a call here and an email here. Like, I'm kind of like.
Yeah. It wasn't that. I always thought you had great intentions, and it was great for the kids to see it, but. It was like, I think you enjoyed joining in more. I'd be like,
exactly.
You go, can I join in this one? I'd go, no worries. And then our kids' confidence would dip.
No, the manager got mad because he'd be like, I seen on the cameras, they'd stop doing that.
I know.
And he'd be right.
Yeah, but I'd be laughing. I'd be like, Finn, do you want to do that? No, I'll just join in you. And it was great, in fairness, because you could see the kids then.
No, because I would want to get involved just because that's.
You could help them in between.
And even the kid in me, you know, with the selfishness, I want to get involved in the Rondo. I'll play. You know, you need an extra player, right? I'll get in. Where the whole step back and trying to, you know, make somebody better, you know, maybe it will come in time. Right now.
But like you said, you've your own.
I get a buzz off going into my office. No, genuinely, like, going into the go-kart office. You know, where, like, the company is flying, and I get a genuinely buzz off that. Like, don't want to talk about football.
Right.
Go in and, you know, I sit there and I'll, you know, people come up to me and we like, I will chat to, you know, about football in there, because it's, you know, natural that my friends in the job, and they will talk about it. But in general, I'll nearly ask them questions to get away from the conversation.
Yeah.
You know, because I like just going in and just chewing the fat with like regular people, just not like, you know, people that are successful in their line of work. You know, I don't want to be just, you know, known for, you know, for football. Like,
this is why these are important, is that we're shining the light on people's other side, that people can go, he's not. I thought Finn was big into just all football 24/7, and you're going, no, actually I like fishing, I like doing this with my kids, I actually like being in an office where people are looking going, what? Yeah. So that's why it's important that you're getting asked questions that you probably wouldn't get asked in an interview about football.
Nah, it's more, you know, casual, general. Yeah. But no, I do. I enjoy going in the office. You know, I would go in Tuesday. Like, in fairness, Jonathan like would be my boss, but he'd be very flexible. But I would never take the piss because of
your relationship with him.
Because of the relationship with him, and I wouldn't want him to have to answer for me. You know, going, well, what's he doing? You know what I mean? Swan's in and out here. Like, is he a part of this team, or is he like? So I would always, even if I'm tired, and some
He's
days
always fixing his hair.
some days I would be tired. You know what I mean? It's good hair though. No, some days I would be tired. I would, and I could, like, I mean, I could ring John and say, listen, I'm struggling here. We've had a really tough session. Like, okay, listen, get yourself home. Like, do work from home. You know. But I would have that relationship, but.
You're okay now with force, you're not just doing it.
Yeah, and I would never, like, but also I would go, I've done it, but also listen, you know, there's money coming in, you know, I'm not, you know, I've done this last week, you know, these kind of, like, you know, the cars are going
to justify
here.
your work.
I can justify it, you know what I mean? You don't, like, and that relationship helps, you know, because as a boss, you know, it's very helpful to me, because I enjoy it, you know. It's something that I'm not saying I'll stay in that line of work forever. But, you know, just that environment, I'm be comfortable in it. You know, like, some people just be like, what, the idea of going into an office and sitting there just doesn't appeal to them. Some people need to be out, you know, whatever it is. But I'm okay, like, so.
You have the suits for it.
Yeah.
Listen, like I said, whatever happens, I hope you stay involved with Rovers for a long time. You've been a tremendous captain for them since you came back. It's been great to actually see you grow as a ex-teammate and someone I would have played against as a kid, but having you around the club's great. I love it, and you're an example we give to the younger players, for the likes of myself and Shane, who are in the academy looking up. So long may it continue, and best of luck with everything, and thanks for doing this. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, no,
thanks, pal.
Pleasure, guys. Thank you. Thanks.
Wasn't too bad.
No, very good. No, very good.
Yeah, you know where you are now?
Yeah, it's some view, isn't it?
Is Tallaght Stadium on there?